My name is Dina. I come from Jajce. Jajce is a place in central Bosnia and Herzegovina, and before it was a part of Yugoslavia, one of the 6 Yugoslavian republics. And in 92 actually, it became Bosnia became independent country. Our country has 3 main ethnic groups: Bosniaks, Muslim, Croatians, Catholic, and Orthodox Serbs. So these are the 3 main nations that live here and that fight over each part of this country in the previous war from 92 to 95. Unfortunately, we are famous for that last war on the Balkans, but apart from that, as you have seen, it's a really beautiful country with a lot of lakes and mountains and a lot of resources for tourists as well. So Jajce is a town that probably has about 30,000 people at the moment. It was probably in a history very strategic town. Whenever the army would come, it would hold the longest to be taken. So we had Ottoman Empire here, we had Austro-Hungarian Empire here, and so many influences. As you walk through the town, you can see so many influences from east and from the west. We have old castle from a 15th century, nice waterfall in the center of the town. We have a catacombs that are very old, and in this town Yugoslavia was born 1943. So many of the historical important things that actually happened here. Yes, waterfall is a big part of our town because it's one of the few towns in the world that has a waterfall in the center of the town. So for the first time after the war, when Sanela and I came to visit our hometown, we were actually on our way to Croatia to study Bible on one of the universities. But when I came here and stood at the waterfall, I saw a big rainbow on the sky, and I was reminding of one time when I was in Germany as a refugee, that God spoke to me that He wants to build His kingdom in this town. And as I stood here, I said to Sanela, you know what, I want to stay here and start doing God's work here. We didn't know if there are any Christians in the whole country, and that rainbow reminded me of His promises, and that He will bring the nations that fought against each other together here. Every time I come here, I remind myself of His calling and of the purpose that He has for my life in my hometown. So we just started talking to people. It's not easy because you are a girl, then you come, your name is a Muslim name, then you speak about Jesus to the Croatian Catholics who know everything about Jesus, you know. So it was an interesting time. In that time, Vanya was already here. She's a girl from Croatia who started the church together with us, and we had one missionary girl from the States. So we just started with a big humanitarian aid. We rented one place in the town, and people could come and sign up and got humanitarian aid from us. And they were wondering how these so-called Muslim girls are helping the Croatian people. So back then it really opened some good doors and some good talks to them. They couldn't believe how you can love the other ethnic group, and especially if you went through a hard time like we did. We did a Bible study back then. We would just read a passage and pray together, and that's how it all started. Maybe 1.5 years later or 2 years later, we got the house that we bought for the church.
The third house on our left is the church house, and during the war, the recent war, when the Serb military was bombing Jajce, from June to August they were using the aircrafts, and a couple of bombs fell around, and one fell in this street called Mitra Street, and it fell in the garden of the first house. Actually, on the first house, it's not there anymore. Once it fell there, the whole houses were just on the floor, on the ground. It was disaster, really. Yeah, but there was none there except the church.
what's encouraging for me is that I do sports ministry maybe more than 10 years now, and hockey I do 9 years, and it took almost 7.5 years with the same group of people to have 4 of them being in a youth group and wanted to study Bible, and out of 4, 2 got baptized. So it seems like too slow and too small, but I think we should rejoice in these small beginnings, thinking where we come from, what happened in this country, and how many bloodshed was here. Even these small things are big, I think, in God's eyes. We never know what will, when the spark of Holy Spirit will work in their hearts. But we try our best. We try to be friends with them and just pour God's love in them. And as you saw, they like hanging out with us. They like spending time. And if they have a problem, they would call us and ask. And I think we gained some trust, and we can just pray and leave it in God's hands. We would like you to pray with us that God would raise a new generation that can, generation that will not have to experience the war, because that's maybe the biggest fear of people here, that there is another war coming. But I believe that God can prevent it through us, through our testimony, through the way we live our lives, and that we could really give a baton. How do you call this? Baton to next generation that could, run maybe faster than we did.